Max, Andy.
Good evening. Merry
Good
Christmas.
evening.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Welcome to Shed 7. We're in a brand new location for today's 9WERKS Radio. We also need to point out as well, we are filming this, so for people on YouTube watching, thanks very much. I'm not going to do this all the time, but I think it's nice just for a little bit of cross-pollination, maybe to show our 9WERKS TV YouTube crowd that there's a really good Porsche podcast out there as well.
Absolutely.
And it's called 9WERKS Radio. We've had a phenomenal year.
Definitely not doing it every week.
Definitely
Because
not.
it took you about an hour to set up that light and that camera.
It did. I feel like it took Max an hour to get into the costume.
It did,
anyway.
yeah.
So
I don't know if you can see. Yeah, this is obviously for the YouTube.
Oh, this is so embarrassing. I didn't realise this was happening, actually. So it's worth pointing out to 9WERKS Radio listeners, as Andy adjusts the costume, that Andy turned up with a box, and I thought there would be like Christmas presents or maybe a bit of mulled wine in there or something. But
sorry.
We've got a Grinch head elf and a... I don't know, what is this? Is this a Mrs. Claus?
Lady elf.
Lady's elf, yeah. Lady elf. So we're...
It's got a shine out.
Yeah, exactly. Hands over my chest. Yeah. I didn't realise I had flabby bits up there. But, we are festively dressed. So if you're watching on YouTube, I can only apologise and say that despite how we look, we do actually tend to talk a little bit of sense and a little bit about Porsche every now and then. So... But we do like to have a giggle and not take ourselves too seriously. So I think that's kind of... It's completely 9WERKS Radio all over.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. A little bit of expertise sprinkled on top of a deep fill of utter madness. Really.
Yeah.
So,
this is true. I
do want to say a quick spread the love to Mr. Johnny Brough, who's lent us this lovely Shed 7 for us to record the podcast in today. John's a real good mate of mine and has been for a number of years now. So thanks for letting us gate crash your lovely gaff. So thank you. Right, so it's the last podcast episode of the year.
Yep,
Gents,
just before Christmas.
Absolutely. I believe we've done 3 series this year.
Andy 3 series, yes.
3 series. Oh, I couldn't hazard a guess. I think near on 40 episodes then.
Yeah,
we tend to do 12-ish. We've extended it a bit for this series.
Yeah.
Lots of different guests, lots of different locations, lots of different topics, from cars to places to people to events.
Oh, we had a quick review of the list, didn't we, really, of the episodes?
Yeah.
It's crazy how many we've got through. Yeah, the variants of it all.
Definitely. And I'm really proud of what we've achieved this year, boys, to be honest with you.
Absolutely.
And I feel like we've had fun with it along the way.
Yeah.
Really good fun.
Yeah. And on the subject of Max popping up there, the third Amigo this year, that's been spectacular to have you on board, Max. And the feedback that we've received from around the industry to have you on board is fantastic. We enjoy having you on, and
the
it seems people enjoy.
Tones of Max.
Well, this is it. I mean, my wife just is in love with you, to be honest with you. I'm under threat here big time at home. So
not when she sees me in this.
That's quality, isn't it? That's quality.
Dear me, I hope Patrick Long isn't watching. Honestly, I normally wear lift stuff, Pat. Not this. Not this.
This could be your new thing at shows.
Yeah, it could be. But no, I mean, it is. I've really enjoyed it. I snuck in through the back door and I haven't gone away. And I really enjoy being here, I've got to say. And as you say, people have been saying some really nice things, which I appreciate.
Quality, Max. Quality.
Good.
You are a stellar addition to the podcast this year, so thank you.
Yeah, good to have you aboard, absolutely.
Yeah. So it'll be onwards and upwards for next year, but we'll talk about that later. We decide we will do this in-depth year review. So we've posed 9 questions to ourselves.
Yeah.
And what we'd like to do to those listening and indeed watching is to answer these questions yourself as well, and maybe work out what your own Porsche year looks like.
Yeah.
Question 1, what is your best show of 2022?
Well, that's quite an easy one for me.
I think I'm going to say the same as you.
Are you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Goodwood Flat 6. I really enjoyed that show.
Yeah.
I think it's the first time it's been held. And it was great out of the box, and what it could develop into. I think, the location, the general vibe of the show was just fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was really good. It was a really good day. Which makes me think I need to not say that. And
it's all right, you can agree.
Well, I can agree, but
You're close second. All right, go on then.
In spite of getting frostbite yesterday, I had such a good time at the Porsche Club GB Christmas Do.
Really?
I thought that was such fun. It was such a great social. That's generally the mark of a good event.
That's because everybody had to cuddle.
yeah. Everyone had to hug to keep warm. I thought it was really good though. I really like the way they laid it out. There are loads of friends there, loads of Patreons there, lots of photography opportunities. It was just a really good vibe. I enjoyed it immensely.
Look, it was really good, and Nick Taylor, who by all accounts has kind of spearheaded that show, so kudos to Nick and his team as well behind him. Caru's, she's popped up on the podcast earlier this year, I think, as well as one of those. I'm sorry, I don't know who else was involved there, but it was a stellar event at Bicester Heritage, in the hangar, just outside the hangar, and then we had our 9WERKS stand there as well, which was fantastic to have Patreons on the stand and for everybody to get to know each other there. So it was really good. But I think to have 3,700 enthusiasts go through the gates yesterday in sub-zero temperatures and for what was many treacherous conditions to get there, that is a stellar effort from everybody.
Absolutely.
And just shows the scale of enthusiasm for the brand in this country.
Yeah, absolutely. You know,
Brilliant.
it was pretty sketchy, the weather yesterday. People came from a long way. It was a really great turnout.
Yeah,
I was
really
gutted to miss it. Gutted.
Yeah.
Really,
Yeah.
You'd have enjoyed it, Andy, to be honest. It had a real family feel about it. Like I say, the whole family was there, including animals as well. Dogs were out there on the lead, of course.
Yeah.
And then you just had all these really lovely cars, and it wasn't just this whole kind of paint sample brigade. It was, they had like this evolution of Targas from the soft window right up to 992, like big Cayenne display as well. You actually, that's a point about the car park that you made, Max, as well, is worth pointing out.
I like the way they laid it out, putting it not in just in model zones. You know, there was a little bit of a mixture, but I went in the McCann, and normally if you turn up at any kind of event in a McCann, you're the poor relation of the Porsche world. But I got parked with a load of other McCanns, like 20 or 30 McCanns. First time ever I got out of the car and felt like I was part of something. It was really good, actually. Just a little thing, so we were all together, and they had air cools together, 991s and 992s, a handful of Taycans, 996s, 997s. It was good. I thought it was a really, thoughtful way of laying it out.
And it's the little things that mean a lot.
Yeah,
for things like that. So again, like Nick and team, like really well done on that. It has to be said.
Absolutely.
We were proud
That's
to
interesting
be there.
that really worked there at Bicester yesterday. Yet when I look back at Flat 6, it was a real, almost a point of not parking everything in areas. It was a real big old mix. But then I guess you had a lot of modified cars and unmodified cars. But yeah, that was almost a point, I think, of Sean and Jay's layout, was not to do the...
Definitely.
So different approaches can work at different times.
Definitely. And again, it shows how lucky are we as enthusiasts to have such choice and breadth of these events. You don't just go to the same concept at different venues around the country each weekend. There is, like you said, Andy, variance, a key word there.
Yeah.
And Ren 11 and players who put the event on at Goodwood, they really kind of exemplified that. A lot of modified stuff there, a lot of it was just nice to not see a paint a sample GT3 touring 992 as an example, but just some individuality, and to kind of celebrate that, I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
And it helped. It was bloody warm as well.
Oh God, what a contrast to yesterday.
This
like
is
the hottest day of the year to the coldest day of the year.
And there was an extra layer with that event, whereby there was a track day going on concurrently that was Porsche only. It just added to something. It's not just about how lovely these cars look on a static display, hear them, see them, smell them going around the track. That really added an extra dimension for me.
That was cool, wasn't it? And what a great choice of venue. Any opportunity to hang out at Goodwood is special. Even if there's nothing happening, it's a great place to be. But to be there and it's just full of
your
Porsches
favourite brand,
was amazing.
Yeah, very special.
And with the music and the vibe, I kind of wanted to, I didn't really want to go home. I quite fancied having a little bit of a party and camping over. Pertinent something actually that we're talking about on the pod today, camping in your Porsche. But it really felt like that. I did say to Sean, actually, I said, like, next year, can we stop over and keep the music going into the night and all that kind of thing, get that festival vibe. Like Bug Jam 1990.
Hashtag you were there. Well, it was great. We had the 9WERKS radio tower, which was the Rolex tower at Goodwood, just bang on the start-finish line, which made for a lovely place to record a pod and to take guests up.
And we had a bit of air conditioning in there.
Yeah, we did, in what was otherwise a scorching day. So we very much hope to be back there next year, by all accounts.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So fantastic. Okay, well, look, 2 stellar shows mentioned there. So that's question 1 of 9. Question 2, best trip of 2022, boys.
Best trip. What's yours, Max?
God, that's a tough one. Give me a minute.
Give me a minute. Shall I go? Because
Go on.
mine's bloody easy, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yours is. Yeah, go on.
Yeah. Well, mine was the trip to LA. That was just like mental.
Looks so good.
But we've talked about that so much already. Yeah,
But if you can, in a sentence, why was that trip to Lufgekol and the surrounding shows that you did in that frenetic 48 hours? Why was that so special for you?
Oh God, why was it so? It was a real onslaught to the senses, because within 24 hours I'd been to 4 car events. It was just like, oh my God, can I do any more? It was just mental, but just had a fantastic week anyway, and met so many great people that I'd known through contact already, but actually met them, and then hospitality in Palm Springs from Brandon. It was great to hang out with him and go with some drives with him. Just the biggest thing is people. That is what it was all about, was meeting people that you'd spoken to on Instagram or we'd spoken to on the podcast. Hung out with Damon Jones for a little bit. That was cool to catch up with him. And just so many good people. Well, if I had to list the amount, I don't know if it fit on an A4 sheet of paper. How many people that I met and saw. Yeah,
it may be a weekend, or it was a week, wasn't it? Where Instagram came to life for you then, really?
Yes, yeah, absolutely, yeah. Cars and people that you followed, they were there in real life. Yeah.
Pucker.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Not quite so glamorous. My best trip was when I drove home from Porsche Centre Silverstone with a fixed McCann. Because that really pissed me off and really ground my gears. I nearly fell out of love with the McCann, to the extent I did phone up someone in the trade and get a price for it.
Oh wow!
Actually, because I was going to get shot of it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it was quite a lot less than I'd paid for it a year before. So I thought, okay, but I better keep it. But I was so relieved when I got it back, because it was such a bloody chore to get it fixed. Nearly ruined my summer holiday. But once it was all done, the AdBlue stuff, the transfer box, all of that stuff, silky smooth now, and I fell in love with it again straight away. I was so relieved.
Has it been okay since?
Yeah, fantastic.
Good.
Yeah, really good. So I'm back into the McCann.
Yeah, nice.
Literally and metaphorically speaking.
Yeah. Interesting, there was a press release that went out just after we recorded the podcast last week, and it said that Porsche is the number 1 most unreliable luxury car brand on the planet, with a rating, and this is by owners, by the way, of 35 out of 100. Satisfaction, that was. It's terrible, isn't it? But it's quite funny, because the brand's got a reputation of ultimate reliability and engineering prowess, but they I don't know, they don't tend to be as reliable as we think.
I think there was a bit of a weighting to do with how you did in the survey, and that was to do with the list price. And I think that might have dragged them to the top in some ways. Yeah. Sort of unfairly in maybe some ways. Yeah. Is what I heard.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, very interesting.
Contrary to popular belief, I didn't contribute to that survey. But if I had done, I'd have taken a very dim view.
Yeah.
I've had a couple of trips to Right Tune with an 991 this year as well. So, I've been through the ringer with Porsche reliability this year.
Yeah. Hurt you in the old financial. Okay, yeah. Well, I'm glad it's better. Yeah, my trip was undoubtedly for me was to Norway, actually, with Porsche Club Norway. Yeah. In the height of summer. Again, in stark contrast to now in the UK, where it's dark outside at 2:30 in the afternoon, it was 24-hour daylight, which was a bit of a
mental,
a bit of a play on the mind. But it was Norway, as I said at the time on the podcast, such a beautiful place anyway. A real part of the world that's just full of natural beauty, but it's really well cared for by the people there as well, and the locals, they're just so nice. And similar to you with Lufgekol, I'd love to name all the people that gave Laura, my wife, who come along with us, gave Laura and I such a brilliant time out there. And really made us feel welcome and part of the family, and to be honest, we're looking to go back next year. Difference being I intend to drive out there rather than fly this time, because the roads really are that good. And as I said on the podcast at the time, it's worth repeating for YouTube, is the speed limits are fairly conservative over there, but you can still have fun with the car. And also, if you're just blitzing round, you're missing the point because the country is that beautiful, you know. Best individual drive of 2022.
God, no, that couldn't be in a diesel, could it?
No.
Never.
Yeah.
I think my best individual drive, actually, going back to Ren 11, it both ways, actually. But on the way home, you know, I get some good roads from Goodwood back to my house. And I had such a good day and left, you know, it was a beautiful evening, you know, left with a real spring in my step and a really good blast all the way home. That was in the 991, cooled seat on, sunroof open, you know, all that kind of thing. You know, on the paddles.
I can envisage the hair flowing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That is fantastic. Really good drive. I had a really good blast down there in the morning as well, actually. I went a different way from what I'd normally, or what I've historically gone to Goodwood. And I discovered some new roads. I went down the A34 and through Petersfield. And,
And
that
A272.
really good. And so I then went back that way as well.
Yeah.
Really good. That was a great, you know, a couple of great drives at either end of a really good day out.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah, wicked. Andy?
Individual drive. Well, that was one that I discussed just a couple of episodes ago, and that was a Sunday morning blast out not so long ago, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, in my car after it, you know, I'd really sort of set it up and sorted it, and it just felt fantastic. And really enjoyed that. In fact, there was quite a few people following me, and I was setting quite a pace, I think, because I was loving it so much. It was quite nice to have the best individual driving.
Do you know
car.
That's so good to hear, because you have put a lot of effort into revitalising the underneath of your 993. It's probably fair to say this year. Do you think maybe by your own admission it took a little bit longer than you'd have liked?
It did.
It was maybe kind of June by the time. Well, I think it was Ren 11 was the first outing, wasn't it?
Was,
so mid-June. So it was,
yeah.
You know, you had to be patient.
Yeah.
You know, as you always are, to be fair, to get to that point. So it's nice that all of that waiting was rewarded with what it, you know, it's a Porsche moment for you this year.
Absolutely, yeah,
you know?
yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely stunning.
Yeah, brilliant. My individual drive is also in my own car, but it involves others. Back in September, we did the first 9WERKS road trip, as we've covered, back to the Porsche Museum and Factory to celebrate 25 years of 996, and it was just really cool to have 8 other 996s, so 9 996s on the D996 in France.
Yeah.
And again, we spoke previously in the series, it is a spectacular road. It shows you don't need a mountain pass to have an outstanding scribble of tarmac. But to be joined by comrades, really, and to share that moment. And I've just got this real vivid memory of these 996s zipping through the French countryside, darting left and right, and just like the sound of all of those engines bouncing through the fields. It was really, really spectacular for me. Awesome. So yeah, that was my drive. It was a special moment. That
can see that. Yeah, good.
Definitely.
Nice.
Definitely, yeah. Biggest surprise of 2022, gents. Open to interpretation. I don't mind diving in on this one.
Go on then.
I'm going to say my biggest surprise of the year was the 911 Dakar. Not for the fact that the Dakar came about, because we all know it was come along, we saw the spy shots, etc. But just how awesome that project is. And
you've really warmed to it, haven't you?
Yeah,
because
you
were really quite lukewarm to it, I'd say.
I don't know, what's the best way to put it? I love the fact they've done it. I love the fact Porsche has done it, because, as I said a couple of episodes ago, it shows that they understand, they're respectful of their history and understand their clientele. They've seen all these other projects, the Singer ACS and Lee Keen project and everything else. But it's not like a shitty Porsche exclusive, let's just tart up a normal 911 and get out. It's a genuine, it's a car that's been thought about.
Yeah, it's actually, it could do what it says it could do.
Exactly,
properly engineered.
Yeah. And you know, there are some. I suppose it is. It's a special edition. It's a numbered car with 2,500 made, or limited production, should I say? But there have been other cars recently that have come out and haven't quite hit the spot for me, like the Targa Heritage Edition.
Yeah.
Some nice touches to it, but I think overall the concept is quite weak. Mm-hmm. So I always worry when you hear of a car like this coming out and you think, please just don't be plaques and numbers, you know, like give me something. So that was the surprise for me, definitely.
Nice.
What about you,
Nice.
Andy?
Well, you know, we had Justin on last week,
Yes.
and I did a sound clip this morning. For
Yes,
it,
yeah.
Which is basically Justin talking about the turbos hitting, and that it was like, well, I don't know what they're talking about. That was exactly how I felt in Paul's roof turbo.
Really? Yeah.
I remember the exact bit of road, which is by Mercedes or Holes Bay, that go around Paul.
Yeah.
And it's the first bit of dual carriageway, and I remember putting my foot down in that, and it did exactly what Justin, and that was a big surprise. So yeah, that's my biggest
Really?
surprise of the year.
Yeah.
That's just nuts.
You love that car, didn't you?
Oh,
Yeah.
too much.
No, that's so good. That's so good.
Yeah.
I went down there this afternoon, actually, down that past that Mercedes.
Oh, did
garage.
you?
I know exactly where you were when that happened. Yeah.
Actually, you were in a turbocharged car as well, weren't you? But it was a diesel Passat.
It was a 2-litre diesel Passat, which made me feel a bit woozy, but for different reasons.
Fantastic.
Boaty.
Yeah. So what's your biggest surprise of 2022 then, Max Newman?
God, what is my biggest surprise? I'm not easily surprised.
Look, seeing him in that outfit.
That was a surprise. Me getting into this T-shirt, that was a surprise. I didn't think that was going to happen. Under this really quite thick jumper
I'm
that
looking
I'm
forward
wearing.
to seeing you get out of it. Mate.
I
I
think the jumper might come off underneath it and all. I suppose the thing I've surprised myself this year, although it has been building and I've been talking about it, is how much I want a Boxster. I really, really, really want, at the moment, a 987 manual Boxster.
Okay, cool, man.
But at times this year when I've been thinking about what to do, financially and things for various different reasons, I've been thinking, gosh, should I sell the 991 and get a 981 Boxster? Because I keep telling people how much I want one.
Yeah.
People must be getting bored with it. Maybe I should just blooming get on with it and get it.
You
And I
can always
haven't
buy
done it.
another brown 911, can't you?
Well, exactly, because there's loads of brown 9. Well, there will be this time next year. There will be loads of brown 911s. But at the moment there aren't many. But no, and I don't know. It's hard not to have a 911 in your life when you got one, isn't it? I remember my dad saying that to me in 2012 when I bought my 997. He said, "Now you've got one, you're not going to want to be without one," and he was right. But yeah, I've really got a hankering for a 987 Boxster, and I want the one with the engine that everyone says you shouldn't get. I don't want a DFI engine car. I want the soulfulness. But I'm not even sure I'm bothered if it's a 2.7 or a 3.2 either.
Cool, man. Yeah. Okay. So you're seriously looking at 987s.
I really would like one. I mean, since I sold the 997, I haven't owned a car with a manual gearbox. And that's been fine. I didn't want the 991 with a manual. I wanted it with PDK. So I'm getting the experience that I wanted out of that. But I don't have a manual box. And I keep thinking, 987 Boxster, manual. God, that would be really good. So if I can, I'm going to make that happen.
Cool, man.
I'd like to add to that because I've been surprised that I've wanted a Spider. Yeah, that's really
They're so cool.
They are,
just
aren't they?
crept up on me this year. Yeah, just want one.
Which one? 987, 981?
I get confused on the
First
model
one or
years
the
of-
middle one or the new one?
the middle one. I
Yeah,
think.
me too.
Yeah.
That's the one I want.
Really?
Don't tell Nick Jeffrey because he'll say it should be 987.
Yeah.
But I really want the 981. I think they're lovely.
They're beautiful. I think the new one even to look at is a work of art. And actually, I was on my knees having a look even underneath just to see like the diffuser at the back goes so far back and under the rear axle on the 718. It kind of blew my mind just how deep under the car that goes. And it kind of reminded me of the 911R. Actually, just in its setup and whatnot, and apparently, like the 911R, a lot of dealers knock the diffuser on the new Spiders when they're getting them off the lorry and all that side of stuff as well. So it's nice to see there's some, continuation there. But no, in all seriousness, it's a work of art, and I love them.
I need to get driving one because I've been offered a driving an early one. I just haven't been able to make that work yet, but I must. Yeah, get a driving one.
I can see you in. You need a drop top. All the times on the pod where we talk about, fantasy garage and this, that, and the other, you're full of drop tops, left, right, and centre.
I actually feel like with us, where our interest within the Porsche sphere and whatnot is all kind of so varied and differentiated. If we were to do like this Venn diagram,
Of where we meet.
our meeting point is a Boxster Spider.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the only model really where
Yeah.
we all just go, yep, agreed, cool car, love it,
Yeah, very
would have
true.
one. It's the only one.
Do you
Yeah.
think we should get a 9WERKS
Together.
981 Boxster Spider?
100%. It's at this point we'd like to heartfelt appeal for some more Patreons, please. Please, yeah. Please. We can only afford a 987 at the moment. This is it, yeah. To be continued.
It was funny the other day, actually, someone sent me their friend's configurator output. You know, I'm into those.
Oh, yeah.
Not as much as Andy says I am, but, you know. And
Daily.
It was, hashtag, it was his friend's soon-to-arrive GT4, Cayman GT4.
Yeah.
And my first, I mean, obviously they're a really lovely car, but my first thought was, who's still buying those? Who's buying a new 718 GT4 at the moment? And I thought, well, of course, you know, someone wouldn't buy that because they're lovely cars. But then I realised that was me thinking, because I'd always get a Boxster Spider
Instead, yeah.
you know, that
Yeah,
just seems like
yeah,
the default
yeah.
thing for me.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, why are you getting that? You should be getting a Spider, surely,
Yeah.
because they're so cool.
Well, you wait until next year with the Spider RS
Oh,
incoming. We've seen spy pictures. It's on the internet. It's on the 9WERKS website. Again, I never thought we'd see an RS Spider, but I never thought we'd see an RS Cayman, and I never thought we'd see a 911 Dakar, and I never thought we'd see a GT3 go back to manual, etc., etc., etc. So
God, I'd forgotten about that actually.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we've got that and ST coming next year.
Yep.
What else? Anything else on the
Well,
runway?
I don't know. Nobody has officially told me anything
Yeah,
from Porsche.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
my
yeah.
big disclaimer on that. But I think we can reasonably expect to see a celebratory car for 60 years of 911.
Okay.
So a 60-yard 911. I'm sure, look, the ST is well documented that it's on its way. And we're still expecting a couple more of these Heritage Edition cars as well,
Yeah.
to be quite honest.
I did see on, it was presumably Instagram, because that's where I get most of my information from these days, someone posting ST pictures and saying that it was the next Heritage car. But I know from us chatting on the pod that the ST is not one of the Heritage cars.
Well, so I have seen that as well. And yeah, it'll be interesting because I still have the interview on this phone recorded definitively where I asked the guys at Exclusive, will any of the Heritage Edition cars get a naturally aspirated motorsport engine? And I was told no. So
do you think it might be the 60R? Will that be the next Heritage car maybe?
very possibly, yeah. Yeah, I think you would reasonably expect it to be in there. I can't see that they would do that car outside of the Heritage theme or concept.
Yeah.
It wouldn't make sense.
Do you think that'll only come in some sort of blue rinse, silver and a grey for being 60, for being pensioner?
Well,
With a beige interior. With Savannah, maybe they'll bring back Savannah.
Max has got the daggers out.
It's going to be Viola, isn't it, for the purple rinse?
Yeah.
Well, the Targa, the first Heritage car, was meant to evoke some themes of the 50s.
Yeah.
Then the Sport Classic was 60s. So the next one, or it's 50s, 60s. The Sport Classic was 60s, 70s. So the next one's meant to be 70s, 80s, with particular reference to its interior.
So that's going to have a Pasha interior.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. And then I think we can reasonably expect a tartan at
Yes,
some point.
yes.
So next one is best car driven.
He's looking at me. That's easy again. So I go back to the roof. 3.8.
You loved it. Why do you love it so much?
And just for the uninitiated, just
Take you
position
through what it
Tell
was.
us about the car.
Yeah, so it's 3.6 turbo, bored out to 3.8. Quite a bit of lightning stuff done to it. So I think it had a lightweight bonnet. A few other maybe doors might be lightweight interior.
Okay.
Why did I like it so much? Drove like a 964 RS off boost, but then just turned into this absolute animal on boost, which was just so much fun and so good. It really made me understand Roof in what they can achieve is pretty outstanding, really. Their reputation is well earned. From that car for me.
Yeah. Epic. I think just to add to that, where you were saying earlier on with your biggest surprise was when the turbos kicked in on that car.
Yeah.
And the performance that delivers. I think where Roof excels in difference to other companies is there's a refinement to how the performance is delivered. Anyone can make a high horsepower car that will just rip your face off at the soonest opportunity, but there's a real duality to that car.
Yes, absolutely.
From how you've described, which is absolutely in keeping with any car Roof has ever manufactured or breathed upon, to be quite honest.
Some clever buggers they are.
Yeah. That's great, Andy, to be fair. That's lovely. That's captured your imagination.
All right. Who's next?
I don't mind going. My best car, without a doubt, to be quite honest with you, is the 911 ST. The original long bonnet car that Mr. Pressland. So Paul, thank you for that, sir, because that was a Porsche moment for me.
Yeah.
Borderline emotional driving that thing because it was just absolutely rip roaring. There's a fantastic video that we did, so it's on 9WERKS TV. Definitely go and check it out just for the noise of that car alone. To rev to the best. Well, it was beyond £8,000, £8,500 on a road car in a long bonnet, and I just found it so much more captivating than a 2.7 RS, which many people believe is like the Halo car.
Yeah,
it knocks the socks off of that car. It's a real Halo car,
little
and again,
ripper.
but not a lot of people know about it.
Yeah.
So I think it will take on extra significance next year, of course, when the new one comes out. But for me, just such one of the most visceral driving experiences I've ever had.
Yeah.
In a nutshell. What about you, Max?
Yeah. Well, in contrast to the ST, I think my best car driven is, and I thought I was going to be, tossing this up between two, but actually I'm not. I had the opportunity to drive a 50 Yara, talking of anniversary cars, a 50 Yara 991. And I was really interested to drive that car because I've always liked the way that it looks and the fact that it's a numbered edition. I've often thought that would be a car that I'd like to own. And a lot of people poo-poo it because, for a 991 Carrera derivative car, they're really quite expensive. And I was able to get into that car after driving my own car. My 991 C2S, which is a really nicely spec'd car. But there was, and I hope there was something special about the 50 Yara, the fact that it is a numbered edition, and I think as I wrote when I wrote about it in T911, it's a car that's all about the details.
Yeah.
And if you get into it and spend a bit of time just being in it, you can really appreciate those details. So that was really interesting, and I was pleased about that. But then there was also the way that it drove, because it's a rear-wheel drive car, but on the wide body, and my car's a rear-wheel drive car on the narrow body. And I don't have so much experience of wide body cars, but it really did feel different, and it had a sort of sure-footedness to it that, in combination with all the lovely detailing on the inside, just made me think, what a great car to drive and do miles in and go on a trip in, which is the antithesis of people who dismiss it as a collector's trinket, because there are so few of them made. I just thought, God, I'd love to have one of these and just drive it loads and use it.
I completely agree there, Max. That is not a car to stuff away. That is a very, very, very special car to drive often if you're fortunate enough to do so.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And the interesting thing, the other car that I thought, which was the better, again on the same day, I was lucky enough to drive a 991 GTS. Mm-hmm. And the interesting thing about that car, of course, being a GTS, it has the power kit, which was an option on the 50 Yara. It also had PDCC. And I've never driven a car with PDCC before, and that was really interesting. And I actually thought, imagine a 50 Yara with the power kit and with PDCC. I thought, that's the car.
Yeah.
That's the car. I'm not even sure I'm bothered which of the three colours it is. Just that spec would be, I'd be away.
Yeah. Yeah, so they're all fabulous cars. There's a really good article described by yours truly, Max.
Thank you.
Yeah, very well done on that. And the 991 is 50th anniversary car. It's a fabulous, fabulous 911. It feels incredibly special every time you get in it. And it goes back to my point whereby if you can drive it every day, I mean, what a fantastic place to be. What a life. What a life.
Yeah, James Bullen, you're a lucky man. And thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Cracking with this. Yeah, we're getting really good variation for that in our drives. Next one, favourite pod episode / guest. Lots of variants again, lots of different topics covered. I hope everybody listening has found it as useful and enjoyable as we have, genuinely.
Yes,
you know?
absolutely, yeah.
It's difficult to choose a favourite, isn't it?
Yeah. What top 3 and then do a favourite?
Top 3, okay. Top 3 in chronological order. I really enjoyed the total geek fest that we went into with Porsche Hunter.
Oh, really? Yeah, with Thomas Skogley, from Norway.
STs and RSRs and all that sort of thing, Some stuff that I thought I knew a little bit about, but it's great to be able to talk to him and ask him a few questions. And that really warmed up into what I thought was a really enjoyable interview. I hope it was for people who listened as well. So I really liked that. Pat Long as well. That was great. That was really cool.
Yeah.
To get to hang out with Pat and chat to him, wasn't it? I really enjoyed that for all sorts of reasons, factory Porsche driver, Luftical, all that stuff. That was great. And then Henry. I mean, what a treat and a joy it was to have Henry on the podcast. That was a great conversation, I thought, and we certainly got some great feedback on that. That sort of felt like a conversation that a lot of people would like to have.
Yeah,
and we were able to facilitate it and deliver it. So.
It was a pleasure to have Henry on.
So can you pick one out of those 3?
Henry.
I, to be honest with you, completely endorse Max's sentiments on Henry Catchpole.
Yeah.
So it would be in my top 3, but I think considering the breadth of what we've had, I won't put it in there. So I'll give it a special mention. But for me, I really enjoyed the Confessions episode.
Yeah.
Just the humility and the hilarity of that was a fantastic contrast to our usual Porsche nerdiness. So I loved the Confessions episode. I loved chatting to Rob and Maz about the Singer Turbo study.
Yeah.
That was a podcast world exclusive that we had. And again, it's fantastic to have those guys on where we could really deep dive into all the details on that turbo study and get a lot of information that wasn't in all the press releases that lit up social media within the first 24 hours of that being dropped.
Yeah, you had some real fresh detail.
Yeah, we got real treated to that. So that was fabulous to have that, to be honest.
That was a great listen, I have to say, as a fan and consumer and listener to the podcast. That was brilliant.
Amazing.
So I really enjoyed that.
Amazing. Well, no, that is lovely to hear because Andy and we loved it. We absolutely loved that. But my favourite one, so the third one of my favourite was, and unfortunately, Andy, you weren't there, which is gutting, but it was the event at Paragon.
Oh, yes.
Or the evening at Paragon because basically I'm a sucker for a curry.
So all it was about.
It was great. We tipped up to Paragon after hours, had a Ruby and a good chat, and then we got the mics rolling. And from a production point of view, I'm gutted, Max, that there was a bit of a buzz with your mic, and I'm really sorry about that.
I'm still sad about that.
Yeah,
that's why it didn't make my top 3.
Yeah, the responsibility of that lands at my door. I'm taking a proper Harry Kane on that one. But I just love the fact that we had 5 Porsche enthusiasts around the table who are all something to do with the industry, but it was just a geek fest, really, and we talked about the market and different models and everything else, and it was incredible to get the insight of the guys at Paragon, whom we rate extremely highly on this podcast, but also their passion and insight and everything else. It was just great to have that conveyed on a podcast for me. Really, really, really good episode. That was
such fun. That was such a fun evening. We could have, you could have had the camera there, and we could have rolled for a couple of hours all round the place doing that. And maybe next time we go, we should do.
Definitely next time, definitely. And as I say, that night was also memorable for trying to keep up with Jamie Tyler in the Nissan Duke afterwards. Absolutely dusted me off in the 996. So.
Oh yeah, and I nearly got run off the road.
Going
the other way.
Yeah. So that was great for me. But Andy, what about your top 3 then?
Oh, top 3 is so difficult, isn't it? They're literally they're all great. One that really personally was good for me was speaking to Andy Saunders. I mean, it was a bit off centre for us, but it was
that's great.
A real sort of schoolboy hero for me, and the stories, and just sat in his crazy house that we were sat in. That was a good night.
It was special.
It was a really good night.
Special.
Really enjoyed that. There was one that didn't have a guest in it, which I really enjoyed. That was it wasn't so long ago, and it was a kind of a quick idea that we came up with, which was a Porsche for the day Porsche for the
Yes.
month. No, for Porsche
A
for
week.
the year
And a lifetime.
and a lifetime.
a day. Was it a day, a year, and a lifetime?
Yes,
Yeah.
A
that's
day, a
right.
year,
Yeah,
lifetime.
yeah.
And that was really thought-provoking for me, and I really enjoyed that episode. And the output of it, I thought was really good as well. I thought it really,
That was a lot of fun, wasn't it?
It was,
Paul was
yeah.
with us on that one,
He
wasn't
was,
he?
yeah,
So
yeah.
That was about a 4-hour record. But it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
No, I really enjoyed that episode. Henry Catchpole's right up there. Patrick Long's right up there. What am I gonna go for? I think I'm gonna join you, Max. And yeah, Henry, I really enjoyed.
Henry.
It was such a good listen.
Amazing.
And, a fantastic, enjoyable hour or so to spend with Henry.
Definitely.
And could do that again.
Yeah.
It's really warm.
Without doubt. And it's worth pointing out, particularly for our YouTube audience watching right now, if you want to hear any more of those podcasts, you've got a bit of intrigue after what we've just said, absolutely go and check it out. You can see it on the 9WERKS website. You can also see it on Buzzsprout and, of course, on your preferred podcast platform. There's a real wealth of content there for you to enjoy.
Search it.
Absolutely. Regards to the Porsche for a day, a year, and a lifetime, obviously we centre that around the marketplace, and we like to do that every quarter because obviously the cars change, the market changes, and we like to get listeners involved. And it's been a highlight for me, and I know that's a question later on, but to see cars being bought via the 9WERKS marketplace and to see enthusiasts using that, which is fantastic for me. So, right, okay, best mod to your car, 2022, gents.
My best mod, I realised just the other day, actually. I had a bit of a weekend and some miles to do, and I decided to use the 991, and for some reason I hadn't been using it that much of late. I forget why. So the best mod to my car for me was me getting in it and just doing some long journeys. I think that's what I realised. I realised that I've been doing lots of local motoring in it, and for various reasons I hadn't been on a long trip in it. So I ended up doing, 250 miles in it, and I bloody loved it. I thought, God, this is fantastic, isn't it? Mandy and I, it was Mandy and I, and so she doesn't get to go near that often because she don't want to drive it. It was great. I loved it. I thought, I just need to be. And then since then, despite the terrible weather we've been having, I've been making it my go-to rather than the Macan.
Beautiful.
And that's been fantastic.
That's cool.
But it does need a clean.
My best mod has been the seats this year, the 997 seat installation. Just an absolute game changer.
I'd agree with that. Yeah.
Because well, we went to Le Mans and back in it.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. And as we've said before, the 996 seats, sport or comfort, you sit on them rather than in them. No lateral support. A terrible seat, genuinely. The 997 is a plug and play option and improves everything in that regard tenfold.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's by far and away my favourite mod this year
mod
for me.
Yeah.
What about you? Because
Yeah.
obviously you've got a lot to choose from.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I've got two things that like specifics that I'm going to go for, and one's of my own generation, and the other is the KWV3s. I think I'm going to go for the KWV3s because they've just transformed my car.
Ooh,
but I would like to mention my little gear lever mod that I've done, which is the little stainless steel bit that is built by Basil's wooden knob.
Yeah.
But the stainless steel bit that I designed and got manufactured, I am so pleased with that.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to pat myself on the back for that.
Right. Okay. So we've got two questions left, gents. What do you want to do first? Next year I will, or highlight? Suppose you do highlight. And
Highlight
then
first,
leads
yeah,
on to our resolution for the year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone to go first?
I'm ready with the highlight.
Yeah.
That was the day that we spent at Caffeine and Machine doing a photo shoot for Total 911, and the surrounding video that's going to come out soon, I believe.
or will it?
Hey, don't go hyping that one up.
That sounded like a threat, Andy.
But I came up with the idea of getting together those bright coloured 993s and to actually bring it all together and get the guys there, and it was fantastic. And my sort of highlight of the day was when Chet, who drives the blood orange 993, realised that it was going to be a feature in Total 911. He was absolutely flabbergasted. Somehow he hadn't clicked.
Yeah.
I think he thought it was just going to be a YouTube video and it was just going to, I don't know, be a little feature or something, but that it was going to be a front page feature. He was like, oh! It was like, all his schoolboy dreams had come to life. It was fantastic. Yeah. So it was a really enjoyable day, and so good to get that great group of guys together. George, Toby, Chet, and obviously yourself, Carl, and Steve the photographer.
It was a top day. Really nice to be hosted at Caffeine and Machine as
Yes.
well, actually. We were really well looked after, and it was really nice from my point of view, after hanging around with the air-cooled 993 cars and guys all day, to then roll into the evening, which was like an air-cooled wasn't it? Air-cooled appreciation.
Yeah, Max came along, didn't he?
So that had it all. And again, we all shared a pizza over sundown, didn't we? So that was a top day, Andy.
It was, wasn't it? Yeah.
Top day.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really good day. Yeah, I came up sort of after lunch.
Yeah.
And afternoon rolled into evening, and it was good fun. Really
It was a day that went like that.
Yeah.
I don't know where the time goes to. It's just craziness on that sort of day. Yeah, it was good. It was good. That's my highlight.
Yeah.
What's yours, Max?
Mine's not dissimilar in some respects, actually. Also T911 related. So again, thanks to Lee for backing the idea and supporting it, and having a bit of faith for me to, I suppose, live out a lifelong dream of trying to be a motoring journalist. I've been thinking about it quite a lot recently because my stepkids, Lil Zoe and Johnny, are 16. So they're just in the sixth form, and at that time, when I was 16, when I was their age, I really wanted to be a motoring journalist. That's what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. I didn't do that, but at 46, I pitched, got commissioned, wrote, and photographed to some degree, a full-on car magazine feature.
Brilliant.
Which was amazing. I've been doing my Living the Legend for 3 years now.
Wow.
So I've been building a bit of confidence in my writing and taking lots of photographs over the same
It's
period.
just reminded me that must be due again soon.
Yesterday. Genuinely. Oh, really? Genuinely.
Sure?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Oh, no, it's
damn.
today Monday.
No, it's next Monday.
Is it?
It's a week today.
Is it?
19th, yeah.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, be sweating
That's a
then.
good job I'm here, isn't it?
Yeah. Christ, yeah. Oh, okay, fair enough. Oh, that's a shame. He's still going to be late anyway. When this goes live on Monday, it's still going to be.
So we did it, and it's on the shelves now. Issue 225. It's the cover shot. It's a 9-page feature, and I tell you what, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I mean, I bought hundreds of copies of it. So
Every shop in the southern of England you've been to.
I bought another one this morning when I was at the services.
Nobody else can work out why the share price of Future Publishing has just skyrocketed in the last week, and it's the EPOS for T911 basically.
Yeah, but I tell you, that was so cool. It's brilliant. Thanks to James Bullen and Paul Fairman for lending me their cars.
Absolutely.
I wasn't quite confident enough on the photography side of things that I could pull it off. So I asked Ryan Tasker, my friend Ryan, to come along and help me. So, he gets photo credit. He did, lots of the photos. But I wrote it up and it's bloody fantastic. I love it.
You should be rightly proud of that, Max, as well. You should be rightly proud because you did a stellar job, as I said before. So big congratulations. And I hope everyone that reads it will share that. I'm sure they will. So very good. I kind of feel quite funny there with both of your highlights involves lovely days out that we've all had that I've filmed videos for and not yet released. So I'm sure there's a conspiracy going
There's an
on.
easy one then. Next year I will.
My highlights, I've got three, and I won't elaborate on all of them because I don't take up all the time, but I do want to mention them. Mm-hmm. So honourable mentions, I have put my highlights of the year is having Max on the podcast. For reasons I said at the start of the podcast, you're such a good addition to what we do here. Not just for what you do on the mic, but off it as well.
Yeah.
You're a real pleasure to work with, and Andy and I have spoke long about this in the past. That's really important when you do things like this, particularly when it gets to 10 o'clock on a Tuesday night and everyone's got places to be. We do it through passion, and it's important that your team shares that. So that's a real highlight for me. Organising the 9WERKS road trip and taking the guys and girls out there, not just for what it was, but just to attract a lovely bunch of people that have all become friends. That means a lot to me that was kind of curated through 9WERKS. But my biggest highlight is actually the 9WERKS Awards back in April. And the reason
Don't
is...
rub it in.
Yeah, so that's the night you were violently ill. Yeah. Oh, that was a Kinder Bueno in the end, wasn't it? Or whatever it was, or something.
Possibility,
yeah. But again, it's not something that 9WERKS as an entity needs to do, but it's something I think is important just to reward excellence. You know, nobody else is really doing that. No kind of monetary reward in it.
Yeah.
But I feel, especially in what we do, in the diligence that we put into all of our work, I think it's important to reward that excellence. And also it's a really nice evening for everybody to come together, and again, very different. It was black tie and everything else. I'm really looking forward to doing that again next year, and hopefully making it bigger and better. But for 2022, you know, Tony had to come over, was so kind, and he's become a really good friend. So all of that kind of centres around the 9WERKS Awards for me, and as I say, I very much hope to do that again next year.
That was a really, again, trying not to rub it in, Andy. Sorry, but I tell you, that was a super cool evening, wasn't it? It was a really fun thing to be involved with. I got to present an award, and then I was supposed to go off the stage, but I forgot, and I stayed on and asked questions of the guys at Singer. But it was such a great fun, you know, social, and meeting Tony Hatter was so cool. What a dude!
What a legend! What a legend!
Tony is such a dude, and that turned into something for me as well. You know, we talk about, you know, one of the best things about going to events is the social and the people, and the Patreons is about the people and that sort of thing. And I say that about the Group C project and Instagram and that sort of thing. I say that the best thing about it is the conversations that it starts. And chatting with Tony, he ended up showing me a picture of this hot rod that he's bought, a 34 Ford, and I was like, what is it, Tony, with you car designers being hot rodders? Which made me mention Peter Stevens, who I got to meet also through a friend of mine, which has come about through Group C and all that sort of thing. And Peter's a hot rodder as well. And I said, guy, because Peter Stevens is a hot rodder. He said, oh, Peter Stevens, I haven't spoken to Peter for ages. And I said, well, I saw Peter the other day. He said, oh, you must put me in touch. Let me give you my card. So Tony gave me his card. And then also that evening, Mark Sumter said, I'll see you at Goodwood, because it was the members meeting that weekend and there was a big Group C thing. I said, God, Mark, I'm not going actually. I haven't got a ticket. He says, what do you mean you're not going? Let me see what I can do. So Mark got me a ticket. So Brilliant. I did go. And when I was there, I bumped into Peter Stevens, because of course he was there. I said, Peter, because I got to know Peter a little bit. I said, Peter, you'll never guess who I saw this week. Tony Hatter. He was like, Tony, I haven't seen him for ages. I said, yeah, no, he said that as well. And he gave me his card to give to you, so you two can get back in touch.
That's amazing. Yeah. That is amazing. And that is the Porsche world summed up to me. Yeah. Completely personified.
It's just brilliant. I just love it.
Yeah, superb.
Fantastic.
Man. Superb. So last question we've got for this year in review of 9WERKS Radio is quite simply, next year I will... ... So what would you gents like to see follow that ellipsis?
Next year I will do a track day in my 991 C2S.
Ooh.
Not sure where, but yeah.
Nice. Oh, you'll get a lot out of that, Max. Yeah. Brilliant.
Yeah. Looking forward to that.
Yeah.
I would just ask that when I'm there, can someone instruct me on tyre pressures and things like that? Because I've done a couple of track days in the day in my 907, but I could do with a little bit of guidance.
Absolutely, yeah.
So that would be helpful.
Well, it doesn't matter, you know, where you are on the ladder or whatever. You can never have too much tuition.
Yeah.
Ever. So, you'll love that. I'm sure you will. Andy, next year you will.
Next year I will get on at least one road trip.
Ooh.
Yeah, because I wasn't able to do that this year. Either ran out of holiday, car wasn't ready. So yeah, well, we did go to Le Mans, didn't we?
We did.
Yeah. But to actually do a road trip in my car.
In your car, yes.
I missed that this year.
Yeah. Any particular destinations?
Road trip?
And what was that? Sorry.
Into Europe.
Yeah, I think Europe. Yeah.
Tidy.
Yeah.
Tidy.
But yeah, anything really, like a bigger trip, because COVID kind of killed that as well. So I've not really done a good road trip in my car.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah,
well,
so that needs to be done.
As we learnt with the 996 trip, these our cars, our 911s, come to life in Europe. They're made for them over there. So you'll love that.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Next year I will, and it's quite funny after what you said. So you said, Max, you'll do a track day. Andy said you do a road trip. For me, I've just got down here. I would like to get to more shows and events. So I feel I haven't done as much of that this year as I'd have liked.
Yeah.
For various reasons. So I'd quite like to get in and amongst it, and things like the weekend with a Porsche club and talking about the Ren 11 show in the summer just reminds me we have such a good day out. Love the early starts, was a nice drive to get there, the anticipation, the excitement of it. And then you just get to meet some fabulous people, have some brilliant conversations all day. So I'm really looking forward to doing more of that next year.
Yeah, excellent.
Hopefully with you guys as well.
Yeah,
Indeed.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Love that.
Good.
Brilliant. That's a pretty decent year in review, I think.
Yeah.
We're going to talk tents now.
Yes.
So
Yes.
So talk us through that.
Yeah, you get pictures of tent, Andy.
Hey! He's been waiting for that one.
yeah.
Oh dear. Friend has a bit of a thing. What do you call it?
Company?
Well, not a
Enterprise?
company. He's got a
Side hustle.
side hustle. That'd do. In a tent company that's here in the UK. Good friend of mine, and he asked if they could use my car, bung a tent, one of these car tents on the top of my car. Roof tent. That's it. That's what they're called. Take some pictures, do a little video, sort of promotional thing. I said, yeah, of course. So we spent a Saturday morning a couple of weekends ago peeing around, putting a roof tent on the top of my car and a set of roof bars. Did some good fun sort of rollers going down bypasses and along little roads. Shot a little video with Santa, might have been involved. So I think by the time this podcast comes out, it should be like in the public eye, as it were. So be interested to see what the fruits of the labours were. I thought we'd get the guys on, have a little chat, and they're going to do a little giveaway as well.
Oh, we love a giveaway.
Excellent.
Yeah, so a little, I guess we could call it a little Christmas giveaway, maybe.
Ooh, very good. Yeah.
So really, thankful to Dave and to Charlie at Latitude Tents. Let's get them on for a little chat. Right, we've got a couple of little visitors here in amongst us. We've got the guys from Latitude Tents. Now, I know Dave well for a good few years now. Dave is working with Charlie at Latitude, and they gave me a shout and asked me if I would put a roof tent on the top of my car.
Amazing.
So why did you pick the 911? What did you want with that?
I'd been chatting with Dave. I can't remember where we were. I should imagine it was probably somewhere like Players or at Goodwood and something. And he mentioned that you had this lovely car, and I thought, oh yeah, maybe one day. And then here we are now. Look at us, and we've put a roof tent on top of your lovely car. Yeah. And
looking forward to seeing the video.
Yeah.
When's it dropping?
Yeah, so it'll be shortly. Hopefully by the time this comes out, it'll be out. So be on our Instagram page. So it looks excellent. So yeah.
Excellent. Looking forward to it.
Very much inspired by your armchair action dressed as Father Christmas last year, which was just epic.
Yeah, we need to put that out again. Actually,
I think it's worth another year, isn't it?
Yeah. There's somebody gave me a free roof rack. I can't remember who it was that gave me a roof rack for the 911. I must thank them because it's come in quite useful for stupid stunts.
Anything, just makes anything practical, doesn't it? Roof bars, it's like boom, right, family car, doesn't matter.
I did some brilliant rollers down. We were on the Upton bypass, weren't we?
Mm-hmm.
There was Wiggy's van with a cameraman hanging out the side of it, holding up all the traffic.
Nervously scanning for policemen. I don't know if you're allowed to. There was the dual stress of the videographer with a £7,000 camera and gimbal hanging down at sort of just above road height, getting some great shots, admittedly. And I'm like, don't take your seatbelt off. Don't take your seatbelt off. Don't take your seatbelt off. So I think he's going to fall in the road. Am I more worried about him or the equipment or the points on the license? So it's good fun.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. So how did the roof tent thing start?
I guess it came from just a love of cars, a love of traveling, using similar stuff and being like a product designer. yeah, just love getting out there. So got to work designing something that did work and worked well and was enjoyable and that people liked. Developed it over a little bit of time, and then yeah, sort of went live, and people have been loving it since. And it's just a wicked excuse to be meeting cool people, traveling around.
So you normally strap it to one of your older BMWs that you've got, haven't you? What have you got?
Yeah. So yeah, I'm more of a BMW head. Hopefully, doesn't offend anyone, but
No, not here.
yeah, I got an old 87 E28 535. Well, it's yet to see the roof of that. That's in more than one piece. E34 Touring, E38, and E36 328 as well.
Wow.
So
I'm sure you'll come to your senses soon and get yourself.
yeah. Well, it looks like I'm getting that way.
Yeah.
E38, is that a 7 Series?
It is, yeah.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. The 7, the E38 is it's a nice boat.
It's a good looking car.
Yeah, before they kind of went a bit blobby, it's yeah, goes well.
E34 Touring's handsome as well, isn't it? I like them.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, again, that's a TDS. So yeah, it's practical. Is what's fun about it.
You're missing an impractical car off that list that's that would bring you a bit more in-house, Charlie. You're not going to mention that one.
Yeah. I guess I could say I've joined the Porsche ownership club of late. We wanted a 4x4 project.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
At Latitude, a lot of our awesome customers like their off-roading, overlanding, kind of stuff like that. So he thought we'd get involved, and wasn't too sure what to get. We were looking at discos, a few Defenders, and then got onto Tourags, and then ultimately Cayennes. And then yeah, I've ended up with a just over a $3,000 Cayenne. So as Dave
Fantastic.
said, what can go wrong?
I think
that man can tell you.
Yeah.
it's the most festive Porsche I've ever seen because it's already got the Christmas lights on the dash.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So
they're there all year round, and I can tell you now from experience that your first maintenance cost is going to be more than that purchase price. I tell you now. Yeah, but they're great cars when they work, and when they don't, they're very characterful.
Yeah. Oh, I can imagine. So far, I've only really used it for the really good aircon in the summer, and then just sat in it at the unit because it had a nice heating steering wheel the other day. But that's going to be chopped up and lifted and all sorts. So that should be a bit of a fun project.
I keep trying to prompt Lee to do that, but he won't do it. He's not up for going the full
bloody
lift.
thing's got enough problems before I give it any more. So, yeah.
Oh, good. Well, we look forward to seeing that on the road with a roof tent on it. Eh? Now, you've graciously offered to do a little giveaway for us.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you want to run down what the details are on one of you could.
Yeah. Well, we'd be happy to give away a trip with one of our roof tents to whoever wins it in terms of if they want to come on down, we'll fit a roof tent for them if they got a trip in mind, if they're going somewhere in particular or want to go away on a holiday and use one of our tents, then that's what they can win, and kind of have as much fun and go wherever they want with it for
fantastic. Get them hooked so they buy one.
Yeah, it's a great prize.
I mean, a lot of people know about it, but the chap 996 road trip on Instagram, his pictures of cellular lifestyle perfectly.
It's interesting actually. The thing I've found in the last 18 months since I've been involved is it's great, selling tents and doing the business and all the rest of it, but the Instagram feed of where people go, what they do, all the fun stuff, just stuff that places you've not imagined or thought of, or the sort of the blowback, if you will, from the internet of where people are going and what they're doing is fabulous.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
It's really worth a follow.
Awesome, good. Well, we look forward to seeing that.
Definitely,
and,
yeah.
Getting that competition going. We'll have the details for that out on. We'll do that on our social medias and get the details together of how we're going to run that in the next few days.
Yeah, definitely. It's a great price and a great product as well, and it's nice to see more products out there. I think everybody is aware of like the Porsche equipment tent that was released not long ago, and it's nice to have alternatives as well away from the Porsche brand. They've had enough of everyone's money, haven't they? So do you know what I mean? So it's nice to have like a perfectly viable alternative as well, and something that's probably a bit nearer to our hearts as Brits and everything else on the South Coast. So
yeah, it's great to see that it's local.
Good.
Excellent.
Cracking.
Well, thank you guys. Appreciate you coming on. Good to see
Thanks
you.
for having us.
And look forward to giving away the weekend or week's tents use.
Yeah, I can't wait to see the video as well. I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, big time.
Thanks, chaps. Yeah, I mean, Andy, thanks again for your beautiful car. And when it's out, go check out the video. We're Latitude_Tents on Instagram. It'll be on there, and you'll see the motor, see the tent, and
Awesome.
Santa Claus if you look close enough.
Who might that be? Excellent. Cheers, guys.
Cheers,
Right,
gents.
Thanks so much.
So, thanks for watching 9WERKS Radio on 9WERKS TV. Feels weird to say. It's been a stellar year. Thanks, Mr. Andy Brookes, Max Newman.
Thank you, Lee.
Thank you, Andy.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andy. Hope you've enjoyed it. As I said earlier on in the episode, if anything of what we said looking back on the year has piqued your interest, go and find us, 9WERKS Radio, on your preferred podcast platform, and we'll see you in 2023.
Good night.
Au revoir.
I have to admit that I thought these outfits were going to be for the patrons only. I didn't realise
It was going
that is
public.
going to the world. So that's a little bit embarrassing.
It's unbelievable, isn't it? It's going on YouTube as well. We're dressed like this.
Absolutely
Savage.
ridiculous.
I love it.